your right. Good evening and welcome to the news at 6 on Impact Business Radio Ibr92.5FM. The headlines. Federal government laments frequent building collapse, calls on state governments to prevent future occurrence. Buhari expresses worry over rising insecurity, charges Nigerians to continue to support security agencies. As Muslims celebrate Ibr92.5FM, Sultan of Sokoto urges political leaders to allow peace to reign in Nigeria. On the foreign scene, 8 people feared dead as fire tore through homes in Philippines. In other news and detail, my name is Victoria Owoyemi. President Muhammadu Buhari has lamented the frequency of building collapse in the country, saying it is unacceptable. The president made this known today while commiserating with the families of those who died, sustained injuries and are affected in the building collapse at the Ebute-Metta area of Lagos State. President Buhari, who expressed sadness over the tragic incident, also saluted the courage and determination of first responders, national and sub-national emergency agencies, and the residents of the area, whose immediate action led to the rescue of several persons, including many children. Buhari noted that the frequency of building collapses in the country has become increasingly embarrassing, urging relevant state authorities to work closely with professional bodies to put a halt to such preventable incidents. The president also wished the injured a speedy recovery and prayed for the divine assistance in the ongoing search and rescue operations. Meanwhile, search and rescue operations are still ongoing at the site. In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari today joined other Muslim faithfuls at the parade ground of the Mambila Barracks, Abuja, to perform the Ibr92.5FM prayer. Speaking with newsmen, the president prayed for peace and stability of the country, calling on citizens to continue to pray and support the nation's security agencies in their fight against terrorism and violent crimes across the country. Buhari, who disclosed that he is having sleepless nights over the security situation in some parts of the country, promised to spare no efforts in dealing decisively with criminal elements. On the forthcoming general elections, the president also reaffirmed the commitment of his administration to a free, fair, and transparent process. The Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar III, has urged political leaders to allow peace to reign in the country. Abubakar made the call today in Sokoto in his Ibr92.5FM Salam message to Nigerians. He said politicians in the country should play the game of politics with faith, love to one another, and ensure that none of their supporters is involved in breaching the peace and unity of Nigeria. Abubakar, who noted that the general election is fast approaching, urged the people to live peacefully with one another and believe that whoever emerged after the election period is the choice of the Almighty Allah. The Sultan also urged the Muslim Ummah to continue to appreciate the Almighty Allah for the gift of life to witness the month of Ramadan. Abubakar further appreciated the Sokoto state government and other wealthy individuals across the country for their sustained support to the needy throughout the period of Ramadan. Meanwhile, the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Rauf Olanino, and the former Governor of Oyo State, Senator Rashidi Ladoja, have urged Muslim faithful to practice the lessons of the holy month and pray for peace. They made the remarks today while joining Muslim faithfuls to observe the Ibr92.5FM at the prayer ground. Anu Akomolafe has details.
Oyo State Muslims joined their counterparts worldwide to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, signaling the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Over the last 30 days, Muslims are in keeping with the Islamic injunction, engaged not only in fasting and prayers, but also in various acts of charity and caring for one another. The Oyo State Deputy Governor, Engineer Olanio, while joining Muslim faithful to observe Eid al-Fitr at the Agodi Prayer Ground, urged Muslims to always pray for peace.
It's to show appreciation to Almighty Allah. Having survived the 30 days fasting, this is the climax. This is the climax to show appreciation to Almighty Allah for keeping us to today. My message to Nigeria: we should keep on living in peace. We should pray for Nigeria. Everybody should pray for Nigeria. We should continue to live in peace, in harmony, irrespective of our religion, our tribe. Nigeria first.
He therefore added to the house of the former Oyo State Governor, Senator Rashidi Ladoja, in the spirit of celebration. Senator Ladoja, while felicitating Muslims on the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, urged Nigerians to imbibe the principle of tolerance, love and unity.
The followers of Islam are the followers of Ishmael. The followers of Christianity are the followers of Isaac. These two people are from the same father, Abraham. So why should I get involved in something that has nothing bearing with me? Religion to me is in the mind.
He described the hike in the price of nomination forms on the APC as a way of encouraging corruption.
40 million comes into nothing when you compare it with 100 million. Yes. So let us leave 40 million. 100 million now, you see, they say that it is to separate boys from men. Because they feel that their party is so important, so well, so good, that everybody will be rushing. And they said that they want only serious contenders. So that's why they put it at 100 million for president, 50 million for governor. And I don't know what is the salary of the president, 40 million a year or so. So you are being asked to come and pay 100 million to seek a job of 56 million. So I don't know, I mean, is that not encouraging corruption?
Eid al-Fitr marks the culmination of the fasting month of Ramadan. Anu Akomalafe, Impact Business Radio News.
Similarly, the Osun State Governor Boyega Oyetola has harped on the need for all Muslims to imbibe the virtues of peace, which he described as one of the strongest tenets of Islam, preached during 30 days of Ramadan. Governor Oyetola said this while addressing journalists at Osogbo Central Eid after observing the 2 rakats prayer marking the end of Ramadan. The governor urged all Muslim faithfuls to embrace peace in their dispositions and to let tenets of Ramadan reflect in their day-to-day activities. He also seized the occasion to charge the youth to shun violence, particularly as political campaign for next governorship elections begins in the state.
My message to our people is to ensure we maintain peace in the state. Without peace, there can be no development. I want to enjoin them to please ensure we maintain absolute peace in the state. I want to enjoy our children to be law-abiding, to have the fear of God. I want to enjoy our parents to ensure fairness in the way they handle the affairs of their children.
Thank God for the completion of this year's Ramadan. I wish everybody well. I would like to advise our women to take proper care of their children. We thank God the issue of GBV is getting to an end in our state.
Ramadan message to all Muslims is that we should be doing good, and when we see the less privileged, that is the reason why we allow compulsory us to fast, so that we will know what the less privileged are going through.
And in Ogun State, Muslims today trooped out en masse to observe the Eid al-Fitr at the Lantoro praying ground in Abeokuta. In a solemn message, the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Shuaibu Salisu, urged the youths to shun the get-rich syndrome, kidnapping and cultism and other criminal activities. He also called on parents and religious leaders to rise to the challenges facing the country for a better Nigeria.
Ramadan has come, a period of restraint, a period of self-consciousness, a period of charity. We should not allow all the virtues that we have accumulated in the month of Ramadan to be left, and we should not return to our vices. So that the final one, religious leaders and parents, the government wants me to appeal to you. Our youth are on a train of get quick rich syndrome. They want to get rich quick, and in the process they resort to all manner of things: yahoo, ritual killing, cultism. Parents must take responsibility for their words and their children, and the religious leader must use the power of the pulpit to appeal to parents to take care of their children, and for the children to also take care of the advantages that we have in the environment. Those who are rich in the world, including the number one, the richest man, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all of these people, including Otedola, I want them to here. None of them was involved in rituals to make money. They are legitimate ways of making money, and there are no shortcut to making money. You must have hard work. You must be persistent. You must pray to God. These are the ways to get money, not by engaging in rituals, not by engaging in kidnapping and cultism.
Moving on to Kwara State, thousands of Muslim faithful today converged on the Ilorin Central Eid Prayer Ground to observe the 2 rakat prayer to mark the end of Ramadan fast. Worshippers thronged the prayer ground, chanting praises of the Almighty Allah for making them witness the end of the 30-day Ramadan fast. Leading the prayer, the Chief of Imam of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Bashir Soliu, admonished Muslims to imbibe the lessons of the holy month and continue to pray for the country.
May all our ibadah be accepted. It's just for peace and progress. Peace and progress. That's the most important thing. Once we have peace, we'll have progress. And continue to pray to God for progress.
Moving over to Abia State, Governor Kezek Piazzo has tasked Muslims in the state to use the opportunity of the 2022 Salah to pray for the sustenance of peace and security of the state and the country. In his Salah message to the Muslims, Piazzo charged them to make the lessons of Ramadan a permanent part of their lives. Piazzo noted that Ramadan is synonymous with the lessons of sacrifice, forbearance, tolerance, self-control, love for others, and peace, which are critical elements required for a united and peaceful life. Also, Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State has called on Muslims to continue to pray fervently to God for the peace, security, unity, and progress of the country. Governor Ugwuanyi made the call today in his Salah message to congratulate Muslims as they celebrate Eid al-Fitr. The governor wished Muslim faithfuls the blessings and guidance of Allah, even as he urged Nigerians to embrace peace, love, tolerance, and sacrifice. Away from that, the wife of the Oyo State Governor, Mrs. Tamina Minini Makinde, has called on the people to avail themselves as vessels unto honor in the house of the Lord. She made the call while receiving an award as the Otun Iyajo of the Diocese of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion of Ibadan North. Taiwo Onlarewaju was at the event and he completes the report.
It was a joyous moment when the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, the Diocese of Ibadan North, conferred awards to new chiefs of the church. Among the awardees is the wife of the Oyo State Governor, Mrs. Olufunke Makinde, who was given the Otun Iyajo of the diocese. Speaking at the event, Mrs. Olufunke Makinde, who spoke about the foundation of the Lord, affirmed the word of the Lord is complete. Olufunke acknowledged the awardees to avail themselves as a vessel unto God.
Vessel for service, for honor. It doesn't say that wood is for honor and gold is not for honor. It doesn't say that gold is for honor and wood is not for honor. The Bible says that when we purify ourselves as the vessel, whether we are of clay, we are of wood, or we are of gold, we become useful in the hand of what?
Also speaking, Canon Adeoye urged the awardees to be available and devote their whole life to the service of God. Adeoye added that they must all be available for God and take a decision to follow God.
Those who would have the comfort of the privilege must make conscience of the duty. We must depart from iniquity, else God will not own us. As you are one of the lost people, are you one of the lost people? If not, you can start a new life today. If you are not one of these,
Highlight of the event was the conferment of awards to the chiefs with certificates and cultural display from different groups and lots more. Taiwo Olanrewaju, Impact Business Radio News.
In commemoration of the International Workers' Day, the organized labor in Ogun State has asked Governor Dakpo Abiodun to take the welfare of workers as his topmost priority. Speaking at an event ceremony for its living legends in Abeokuta, the state chairman of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, Issa Olude, said labor will continue to engage the federal government to treat its workforce well. Olude also pleaded with the governor to approve the payment of leave allowance, cooperative deduction, as well as release promotion letters to civil servants.
We have continued to engage government on our welfare and to demand for issues that affect workers in Ogun State generally. We have a lot of demands to the state government. Are we talking about leave allowance that has not been paid for over 8 years? Are we talking about the failed contributory pension? Are we talking about deductions that has risen to about 21 months now, and many other issues that affect the public service of Ogun State? We continue to engage government, and we hope the government will listen and take to advice of labor.
If you don't treat them well, they are the pensioners of tomorrow. If you are not treating the current workers well, that means you will even forget when they are pensioners. Conditions of service, I said it, that when we were in the service, all the conditions of service, we were very conversant with them. Unfortunately, I don't think that happens again.
It's a pity that the backlog has been hung for the local government since 2012, for the state pensioners from 2014 when it came in. But I must tell you, His Excellency have not reneged on that promise. On quarterly basis, he has been releasing the 500 million he promised them, with the proviso that as soon as the finances of the state improves, that 500 million naira will be increased.
Ahead of the People's Democratic Party primary election, the Presidential Screening Committee has announced the disqualification of 2 aspirants out of the 17 aspirants screened. The chairman of the PDP Screening Committee, David Mark, disclosed this while addressing journalists shortly after the screening exercise in Abuja. Mark noted that 15 aspirants were screened and cleared after meeting the requirements to contest for the presidential ticket of the party in the forthcoming election. He further stated that the screening report will be submitted to the National Working Committee, and aspirants not cleared also have the right to send an appeal to the party's appeal panel.
Because PDP is working towards making sure that there is good governance and there is internal democracy, and that's why I'm very, very happy that we are brought here before a team of eminently qualified Nigerians screeners.
And the panel of the eminent leaders and members of our party under the able leadership of former President of the Senate, Senator David Mark. You know him to be a very meticulous, and we have followed the process, and I believe that the screening went very well.
Chances is just for the delegates to decide. I'm not going to impose myself on them. My chances is for the delegates to reflect on the nation and decide what do we do to guarantee a future for our young ones.
Meanwhile, some members of the People's Democratic Party in Osun State have promised to challenge the conduct of the party's delegate Congress in court over the status of the caretaker committee members. Addressing newsmen in Osogbo, the party members noted that they will not allow the PDP to lose out in the 2023 general elections. The members of the party also described the ad hoc delegate Congress as illegal.
As law-abiding citizens, loyal party members, and adherents of the rule of law and due process, notified of the pendency of the suit by service of processes and joinder of issues by the opposing parties, we have enjoined all members of the party not to join in the illegality which today's planned Congress connotes.
I'm aware that some of these people went to court, came that order of injunction or what have you, but in the wisdom of the court, presided over by Justice Adeleke, that he will not grant such order until the parties to the suit were adequately served the processes of that litigation of the court. So there's nothing stopping to this exercise, and as I sit here, people are all over the field, conducting the ad hoc delegates election.
And now let's join Oluwayemi Siokweldo for stories in the business arena.
In business, the Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Agugu, said queries raised in the Auditor General's report on ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, does not translate to missing money. He stated that the audit reports were meant to correct discrepancies in the finances of the MDAs, but not that money is missing. Agugu gave the clarification during the 46th induction ceremony of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN. He said the concern of the Muhammadu Buhari-led government is to increase internally generated revenue and ensure that such revenue was transparently accounted for by the collectors. In another news, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has disclosed that the average price Nigerians pay for transportation in 2022 skyrocketed in February. According to the report by the NBS, the rise in transportation fares could be attributed to the scarcity of petroleum products in the month, which led to a hike in the prices of commodities and transportation fares. The NBS stated that the hike in transport fares cut across bus journeys within cities, intercity and state routes, airfare charges for specified route single journey and journey by motorcycle known as Okada per drop, and also waterway passenger transport. It noted that there was a moderate rise in transport fares in January, but the figure increased substantially in February and dropped slightly in March. However, when the figures are compared to the previous year, 2021, there was an average of 25% addition to the transport fares. That ends the business news for today. I am Oluwayemisi Okweodu.
Thank you so much, Oluwayemisi. Now, Johnson Oyebanji is standing by with our editorial review for today.
The Nigerian Tribune newspaper editorial for today pays attention to the lack of professionalism shown by some personnel of the Imo State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and the Nigerian Police Force, who were involved in a clash over a minor dissension last week. Quoting some reports, the paper says the attack was triggered by an earlier argument which happened between the personnel of the convoy of the NSCDC commandant and the police officer who blocked the road the convoy was to pass, adding that apparently the police officer who was dissatisfied with how the argument was resolved trailed the convoy to the NSCDC command office, where he allegedly drew his pistol to launch an attack but was overpowered, disarmed and detained. You recall that the following Monday evening, police personnel attacked and invaded the NSCDC command to rescue their colleague and launch a reprisal of the NSCDC personnel for their effrontery in detaining an alleged violent police officer. It notes that this embarrassing and fatal accident happened just like those before it, stressing that some non-state actors sometimes make a resort to anarchy to seek redress. It however says it is worse and unacceptable that trained, kitted and armed law enforcement personnel of the federal agency with constitutional responsibility to protect citizens are settling scores through utterly lawless methods and violence resulting in loss of life. The newspaper concludes by urging the highest hierarchies of the two agencies involved to launch a painstaking inquiry into the incident and ensure that culprits are brought to book. On its part, the Nation newspaper editorial harps on the pathetic condition of the Nigerian workers. It argues that the working population is the engine room of a functional society. The paper says now is the time for workers to harmonize their numeric strength in enlightened self-interest. According to the editorial, workers in all establishments, be it public or private, will activities. It underscores their importance, saying that they are the life of any organization that no employer can take for granted. Citing data from the National Bureau of Statistics, there are over 30 million Nigeria in active employment. In its conclusion, it stresses that it is imperative to set up the pressure of accountability at every layer of our corporate existence. That is the editorial from some of our national dailies. I am Johnson Oyebanji.
Thank you so much, Johnson. Now let's join Kenny Bamidele with stories from the exciting world of sports.
In sport, despite decision by FIFA to impose sanction on MK Abiola Stadium Abuja, the Confederation of African Football CAF has approved the stadium to host the 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone. This was contained in a letter sent to the NFF yesterday, the 1st of May. Recall that today, FIFA's disciplinary committee imposed sanctions on the stadium for the misconduct of its fans during the World Cup qualifying game against Ghana in Abuja on the 29th of March. The World Football ruling body in a statement on its official website detailed the reason for this sanction as order and security at matches, failure to implement existing safety rules and failure to ensure that law and order are maintained in the stadium, invasion of the field and play throwing of objects. However, with CAF approval, it finally put an end to speculations that the edifice will be barred from hosting international matches in the wake of crowd disturbance that threw the second leg of the World Cup qualifiers against the Black Stars of Ghana. In the continent, FIFA has sanctioned 6 African Football Association following March's World Cup playoff matches, but not ordered the replays requested by Algeria and Egypt. Instead, Senegal, Nigeria and DR Congo have all been ordered to play one match behind closed doors as well as been fined. Algeria, Egypt and Morocco have all been handed financial fines fines by a football world governing body, and the list of decisions published by FIFA does not include any instructions for any replays or overturning of results. Algeria had lodged a demand with FIFA for a replay of their second leg loss to visiting Cameroon that saw the side Foxes eliminated on the away goal rules. The Algeria Football Federation and national team coach Jamel Belmadi were unhappy with several decisions made by Gambian referee. In Europe, Jurgen Klopp says Liverpool will have to be ready to suffer in their Champions League semi-final second leg against Villarreal despite a 2-goal advantage. An own goal from Pervis Estupiñán and Sadio Mane's strike gave Liverpool a 2-0 win at Anfield last Wednesday. Manager Jurgen Klopp has warned the side have to be ready to play a top game because they will go against them. The Reds have been European champions 6 times and last triumphed in 2019. And lastly in sport, in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors took a 1-0 lead in their NBA playoff Western Conference semi-final with a thrilling 117-116 win over the Memphis Grizzlies. Klay Thompson hit a 3-pointer to put Warriors ahead late on, only then to miss 2 free throws. But Grizzlies guard Ja Morant could not convert a contested layup at the buzzer as Warriors held on. Giannis Antetokounmpo led the Bucks to a 101-89 victory in the Eastern Conference over Boston Celtics. Antetokounmpo, twice NBA Most Valuable Player, recorded a triple-double, 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists for the defending champions Bucks as they took a 1-0 series lead in Boston. And that is all we have for you in the world of sport. I am Kenny Bamidele. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Kenny. And moving over to the foreign scene, 8 people have been confirmed dead, including 6 children, after a fire tore through scores of homes near the Philippines capital, Manila. According to reports, the blaze destroyed 80 homes. Speaking with journalists, Senior Fire Officer Greg Bicheda explained that it took nearly 2 hours to extinguish the blaze, with victims unable to escape from their homes. Now let's join Anoluwapo Omoride for more stories on the foreign scene.
The buzzing streets of Cairo were even more lively today as Egyptian Muslims celebrated the end of the holy month of Ramadan. President Al-Sisi attended Eid al-Fitr prayers at the El Moshe Tower Mosque. Worshippers like Abdurrahman Al-Tawil were even more joyful because the Ministry of Endowment recently allowed large and university mosques to welcome crowds again.
What's most important during Eid is the Eid prayer, and it is the most prominent Eid celebration. So when the prayers are performed in a big and old mosque, especially in Old Cairo, the more the person feels the festivities of Eid, rather than praying in a small mosque in our neighborhood.
In Kenya, Nairobi residents gathered in the Rama Mosque. Despite inflation exacerbated by the war in Ukraine, Imam Abdulghani Bashir urged the faithful to continue to take care of the poor during the festive season.
As Muslims, we're required to give Zakat al-Fitr before we come to the Eid prayer. It is important that Muslims give Zakat al-Fitr, which is in form of foodstuff, to all those ones who are in need, and also to go beyond just giving foodstuffs, to give whatever that it is possible to give, so that those ones who are less fortunate can also share this joy and happiness on this beautiful day of Eid.
In Somalia, Muslims marked the feast day with new clothes and celebratory gatherings. Young and old alike observed communal prayer at the Et Tadanum Islamic Mosque in the capital Mogadishu. In Sudan, large crowds gathered at the square of the Sudanese capital Khartoum. Elsewhere, an estimated 10,000 Muslims gathered in the Ethiopian city of Gondar to denounce anti-Muslim violence. The attack took place last week and resulted in at least 21 dead and more than 150 people wounded. Riyad Said speaks on these.
It is very sad. Innocent people who were attending a funeral ceremony were attacked for no reason. Around 20 and more people have lost their lives.
The authorities had announced that at least 280 people had been arrested in connection with the violence. A college student, Faiza Mohammed, admits the attack was done in error.
I feel like my brother has been killed. We are indeed sorry. Islam is a religion of morality, so we must respect it. We are led by our emotions. It would have been chaos.
The attack was carried out during a Muslim burial at the Sheikh Elias Cemetery in the predominantly Christian city of Gondar. Anoluwapo Omoride, Impact Business Radio News.
Federal government laments frequent building collapse, calls on state governments to prevent future occurrence. Buhari expresses worry over rising insecurity, charges Nigerians to continue to support security agencies. As Muslims celebrate Eid al-Fitr, Sultan of Sokoto urges political leaders to allow peace to reign in Nigeria. And finally, on the foreign scene, 8 people feared death as fire tore through homes in Philippines. For comments, breaking news, happenings around your area, and suggestions, send your reports to newsroom@Ibr92.5FM.com. You can like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/IBR925FM or stream us live on www.ibr925fm.com. The news was produced and edited by Mary Ojo. I am Victoria Owoyemi. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
It's all about business, inspiration, qualitative and informative news, educative program on the go. It's Nigeria's first business radio, IBR. Impact Business Radio, 92.5 FM. We mean business.
Look, there's no easier way to say this. Slow internet is bad for business. So, if you want what's best, get the Airtel Smartbox Outdoor Unit for SMEs.
Indeed. Do business at internet speed of up to 200 megabytes per second with the Airtel Smartbox Outdoor Unit for SME and enjoy instant access to other amazing offers. Dial 1010 toll-free or send an email to airtelbusiness@ng.airtel.com to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Children are the ends by which we take hold of heaven. They are our most valuable resource. It would interest you to know that they make up 1/3 of our present population and all of our future. The future belongs to these amazing and special creatures, and we have to treat them with so much love and care. In view of this, the management of Metropolitan Broadcasting Services, owners of Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM, and Impact Africa Television, IATV, is organizing a special Children's Day fun fair